Let us now look at a non-inverting amplifier. So what we did earlier was an inverting amplifier where the input and output had opposite phase, and that was because the input had gone into the inverting terminal. Now we are going to put the input in the non-inverting terminal of the op-amp. So here is my op-amp. I'm going to put my input over here. RF R1. So here's my circuit. Let's again step by step understand how this is to be done. It will help us develop the techniques for uh, solving any kind of op-amp circuit. Okay. Now notice that the voltage at the non-inverting terminal plus is Vin. Now there is a virtual short between the non-inverting and the inverting terminals. Therefore, V minus is also V in. But V minus is basically the potential at this point. And what is the potential at this point? You can look at this as a potential divider circuit. And therefore V minus is going to be V out R1 divided by R1 plus RF, right? So equating these two, we see that V in is V out times R1 divided by R1 plus RF, and therefore the voltage gain, which is V out upon V in, is R1 plus RF divided by R1, or you can say this is 1 plus RF divided by R1. So this is almost the same as what we had before, except there is a 1 plus added to it. And of course the sign, that gain was negative because it was an inverting amplifier. This gain is positive because it is a non-inverting amplifier. So in this case, if your input signal looks like this, then your output signal is going to look like this. Amplified, but same phase. Great. So now we can discuss one more circuit very similar to this non-inverting amplifier. Let's draw the circuit for you. This is called a voltage follower, or sometimes this is also called unit gain amplifier. Circuit is very similar to what we drew for the non-inverting amplifier. Input comes here. That's it. As simple as that. How should we analyze this? V plus is V in. So V minus should also be V in because of the virtual short. And then you can see that V minus is directly connected to V out. So V out is also V in. So the voltage gain is 1. So that's why it's called the unit gain amplifier, because the gain factor is unity or 1, and it's called the voltage follower because the output just follows the input. There is no difference between input and output. It is a non-inverting amplifier in the sense that the phase of the input and output is the same, and the gain factor AV is exactly 1. Therefore, unit gain amplifier. Are you starting to see how easy it is to analyze op-amp circuits compared to transistorized circuits? In a transistorized circuit, if you were looking for an amplifier, you had to do a long analysis, including DC signals, AC signals. It was a pretty long affair. Now for op-amps, because we have these assumptions where there is a virtual short between the two terminals and there's no current flowing into them, etc., it becomes very easy to analyze circuits with op-amps in them. So I want to talk now a little bit about negative feedback loops. I told you earlier that the difference between an open loop circuit and a closed loop circuit is the existence of a feedback loop. So let's draw this circuit, which was for the non-inverting amplifier. And if you remember from the analysis which we had on the previous page, the voltage gain is 1 plus RF over R1. Anyway, what we are interested in this circuit right now is how much feedback is there. So what fraction of the output voltage is there at the inverting terminal? So how much feedback? So let's define what is called the feedback fraction B. So B is V minus divided by V out. So V minus, or which is the voltage over here, is just V out R1 divided by R1 plus RF divided by V out. So this is R1 over R1 plus RF. And the voltage gain is R1 plus RF over R1. So you can see from these two that this product is 1. This is a useful result, and we will come back to it later when we're talking about positive feedback as well. That the product of the gain and the feedback fraction is 1 in this case. Now, so far we have looked at circuits in which at the input you have a voltage, and at the output also you are measuring a voltage. So here your input and output signals are both voltages. So this is sometimes referred to as a voltage controlled voltage source, or a VCVS. However, you can also have a circuit in which in the input you are not supplying a particular voltage, rather you have a current source which is providing a fixed known value of current. And then on the output you might want to measure the voltage. So then that would be a current controlled voltage source, which is then called ICVS. Similarly, you can give a voltage input, and instead of measuring some particular voltage at the output, you measure the current going through some load resistance over there. So then that would be called a voltage controlled current source, which would be VCIS. And then you can also have current controlled current source. So depending on what you are measuring, what you are interested in controlling, because your input will control your output. So depending on what you want, what signal you want to manipulate, whether it's a voltage or a current, you can have these four kinds of circuits. Okay. Let's look at one more circuit. It's called an inverter with adjustable gain. See, we are looking at all of these circuits because let's say at some point, as a person working in electronics, you want to manipulate some signal. You know what kind of input you have, you know what kind of output you need. Now you have all of these options: inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, voltage follower, etc. So depending on what you require, you choose the appropriate circuit, and that will do your transformation of your signal or manipulation of your signal. Okay, what does inverter mean? Basically, I have some input. I want that to be inverted. So let's see how we are going to do that over here. So here is my op amp. Okay, let's put in some input. Here is my output. What values should I give them? Okay, these two are same, R1, R1. This one is R2, but this resistance over here is a variable resistance. So let's call it R, and R varies from 0 to R2. Let's see if we can analyze this circuit. First, let's look at this part of it. And you can see that again, this is like a voltage divider. So if I want to find out the potential over here, V plus, or which is the same as the potential over here, then this is given by the voltage divider formula. So this is V in R divided by R1 plus R. So that gives me V plus. Now V minus, because of the virtual short, is also exactly the same. Now let us find out what is the current flowing through the circuit over here. Let's call this current I. So I is going to be V in minus V minus over R1. And because current cannot flow into the op amp, this entire current will continue flowing like this. So that same current I is equal to now V minus minus V out divided by R2. So when I solve this equation, so I'll plug in V minus in this on both sides. I get V in minus V in R upon R1 plus R divided by R1 is equal to V in R upon R1 plus R minus V out divided by R2. Now you can work this out, you can manipulate this equation to find out what is V out divided by V in. So take all the V ins on one side, and then that will essentially tell you that V out divided by V in, which is our voltage gain, is going to be, what is the formula? R minus R2 divided by R plus R1. So now you see, since R is a variable resistance, you can adjust its value. Then you can get, depending on what value of R you choose, you will get a different value of the gain. So since we have said that R varies from 0 to R2, correspondingly the gain will go from, when R is 0, you will get minus R2 upon R1, and when R is R2, the gain will be 0. So you can adjust your value of gain to be between 0 and negative R2 by R1 by choosing appropriately whatever value of the variable resistance R you want. Alright. So far we have been talking about changing the amplitude of an AC input signal using these amplifiers. Now let's try and change the phase of the signal. Basically what I want is, if this is my input, I want my output to be shifted slightly with respect to this. So this difference is the phase difference between these two. That's what I want to do. So same kind of circuit as this one, but with one important difference. While I'm drawing, can you try and guess what kind of component would I want to put if I want to change the phase of an AC signal? So the only difference is that over here, now I'm going to put a capacitor. And now because I want to deal with phases and AC signals, I mean we've been dealing with AC signals all along, but because now I'm very concerned about not just the amplitude but also the phase, I'm going to go back and use complex numbers to denote my signals. So V in, I'm going to say, is some V max e to the I omega t, or V max cosine omega t plus I V max sine omega t. So this is my input signal. How should I start analyzing? Again, same way as we did before. First, I'm going to try and find the voltage at the non-inverting terminal, which is the voltage over here. And again, this is a voltage divider circuit. So this is V in. Now, if instead of a capacitor, if there was a resistor over here, I would have put it resistance. But because it's a capacitor, I'm going to put its capacitive reactance. Basically, you can treat your capacitor exactly like you would treat a resistor, but instead of using the resistance, you use the complex value of its reactance. So this becomes I divided by omega c divided by R plus I divided by omega c. So this is also going to be equal to V minus the same one. Now again, with the upper part of the circuit, you do the same thing as we did before. You compare the currents. So you will get something like V in minus V minus divided by R prime is equal to V minus minus V out divided by R prime. Now thankfully R prime cancels out, so the equation becomes a little easier to solve. So you see V out is going to be twice V minus minus V in. Remember, V minus V in, these are both complex voltages right now. So in general, this will be something like A plus IB, where A and B are both functions of time because they have sine omega t, cosine omega t, and so on. Now, if I draw the phasor diagram for this, so real axis, imaginary axis, what we are saying is that the input is given by some complex number in this plane, and the output has a different phase. That is what we are looking for. So let's say the output is in this angle, and the difference between these two is the phase difference phi that we are interested in calculating. So this is the input, this is the output, and this is the phase difference phi that we want to capture. Now, of course, you can do the most general kind of analysis for this, but instead we can simplify our problem a little bit. V in has a cosine component and it has a sine component. This is the initial voltage that you are inputting into your system. What if I considered, just to simplify, what if I considered my system at time t equal to 0? At t equal to 0, my input voltage just becomes Vm, because cosine of 0 is 0 is 1, sine of 0 is 0. So what is happening is, instead of this picture at time t equal to 0, real, imaginary, my V in is just along the x-axis, and my V out will also rotate accordingly. And now this is the phase angle that I want to calculate. So the phase angle now is just the angle of this complex number V out. So since I have V out as AT and BT, I can define the phase. Phase is what? It is the imaginary, if you remember, in general for a complex number x plus iy, the angle, the polar angle of this, or the phase angle, is given by tangent theta is y divided by x, or imaginary part divided by real part. So same here, I'm going to say phi is tangent inverse of b divided by a, but at t equal to 0, because that is the simplification that we have used. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. In general, for a complex number, z equals x plus iy, tangent of the angle is y divided by x. That's what I had written earlier. So that's why over here I have the imaginary part b divided by the real part a at t equal to 0. Now you can do this analysis, and the calculation is a little dirty, so I'm not going to do it over here, but you can try it out at home. You are at home, try it out. And the answer that you will get is, for the phase difference phi, is tangent phi over 2 equals minus omega RC. So you can adjust the value of the capacitor and the resistor R, and depending on what is the input frequency that you put in, you will get a phase difference given by this value of phi.